Alabama sophomore guard Labaron Philon displayed his offensive talent this past season at Alabama. Philon followed up his freshman year with an impressive sophomore year where he really honed in on some of those skills that weren't his strong suits in his first year at Alabama. When looking at the stature of Labaron, and he comes in at 6'2.5", he is a little bit of a smaller guard, but you also see that 6'6" wingspan, and he definitely uses it to his advantage when he's driving to the basket. Philon's offensive talent has really never been in question. It was more of the playmaking ability and the defense. When talking about the playmaking ability, I think that was a big reason why he chose to come back to Alabama. Not only was he going to have an extremely talented team around him to help boost those playmaking skills, I think he just really loves basketball and wanted to improve on those things. And on this pie chart, we can see that he really did improve those playmaking skills, with a lot of it being attacking to the basket and kicking to an open shooter or in the pick and roll. Obviously, those are two extremely important parts of basketball, but especially in the NBA where there's a lot more space for people to operate, being able to beat your defender and hitting an open man or playing out of the pick and roll is extremely valuable. On the offensive end, Philon isn't exactly the biggest athlete, but he definitely is a good athlete, and that shows with his ability to be able to beat his defender and get to the basket and attack strong. In addition to that, he's extremely comfortable with shooting off the dribble, which not a lot of young players are extremely comfortable with, but he has the poise to be able to take those shots, and you can tell that he works on those shots because he shoots them with a lot of confidence. On top of that, he is more than comfortable as a standstill shooter as well. And I think that's going to serve him really well early on in the NBA, because I think he's going to be put in situations where he's going to be asked to create his own shot, but also be willing to play off of others. Especially early on in his career, I don't think he's going to end up on a team where he is solely the primary ball handler. Ideally, I would love to see him in a situation where early on he can learn how to play without the ball, and as his rookie season progresses, that's when he gets a little bit more of the ball handling duties. As you can see from this graphic, Philon is an extreme offensive talent that does lack a lot of defensive qualities you look for in an NBA player. Now, I'm not saying you can't play him because of these defensive deficiencies, but I think he needs to be put in a situation where if he is going to be your primary ball handler, he needs to be surrounded by quality defenders. Given his size, he is probably going to be hunted on the defensive end, especially early on in his career when he's still learning the pace of the NBA game. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing, where I think he's probably going to end up on a team that is likely going to enter a rebuild pretty soon, and I'll talk more about that later. Going through those growing pains now is a good thing, so he can learn, so later down the road when you are competing to win competitive basketball games, he's ready for that. Here with these bar graphs, you can see all the different ways that he contributes to scoring on the basketball court. A lot of it is attacking the rim and getting downhill in the pick and roll, and then also playing in transition. Like mentioned earlier, a lot of it is also that dribble jumper, so playing off the hop and playing off the dribble and shooting. What you can see on his shot chart is where he likes to shoot the ball, and a lot of it again is getting downhill and getting to that basket and finishing with a tough layup, or he likes shooting on the perimeter but not necessarily in the corners, and that makes sense because he's playing off the dribble a lot more and it's not those standstill threes. An area of improvement that I would like to see is his ability to beat his defender and dish it to an open man, but if the shot's not there, relocating and finding an open shot for himself. Here's just another example to really drive home the point about his ability to beat his defender and get to the basket and finish effectively at the basket. You can see that brighter blue color, and what that indicates is shot frequency at that location. When analytically looking at his player comparisons, we see players like Trey Burke, Cameron Payne, another player in this year's draft, and Christian Anderson, and Kemba Walker, Trey Young, all of these shot creating guards, right? And that definitely reflects when you watch his game. A player that's not listed on this list of players that really I think resonates with me when I watched Philon play is Brandon Jennings. Brandon Jennings going into the NBA was seen as this super shot creating guard that is a microwave scorer and can get hot at any moment. And I really do feel the same about Philon. I don't necessarily believe that Labaron will be this superstar all NBA type of player, but I think he can be a really important contributing piece on a competitive basketball team where he can have nights where he will single-handedly win you a game because of his performance. I think the most likely landing spot for Philon is going to be the Milwaukee Bucks. And the reason I say that is they're probably going to enter a rebuild relatively soon. With whether Giannis gets traded this offseason or next offseason, it feels inevitable at this point, and I think Philon is a good starting point for a rebuild. Now, is he going to be the best player of the rebuild? Maybe, maybe not, but I think he's a good foundational piece. As always, thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, leave a like below and let me know your thoughts in the comments below.